Hi ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. LaJoy here. Today we're going to talk about the Pythagorean Theorem. So the Pythagorean Theorem is a theorem that says that in any right triangle, the sum of the squares of the legs is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Now that will make sense once we look at a diagram. I need you to know that the legs are going to be the short sides of a right triangle. And the hypotenuse is going to be the longest side of a right triangle. So what does that, oh, actually, when we need to note that that is the opposite. So this will be opposite the right angle. Okay, so what that looks like, draw it out for you. Let's clear this. So the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we look at a triangle, there's my triangle. Here's the right angle because it's a right triangle. These shorter sides, so we can label them A and B. So this could be A or B, and this could be B or A. It doesn't matter which is which because they're both shorter sides. Now this one over here is our C. This is the hypotenuse. It is the longest side of the triangle, and it's the one that is directly across from the right angle. So remember, we always mark a right angle with this little square here. That shows us that this is a 90-degree angle, and the hypotenuse is always going to be across from that right angle. So let's look at our first example. So if we have a triangle where, let's draw it out. There's my right angle, and we'll say that this leg is 10 meters and this leg is 13 meters. We don't know what this leg is. This is our x. So we have to find our missing side using the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we say that this side is a and this side is b, and my x is c, so we can solve this by plugging these in. So a squared, so 10 squared, plus 13 squared equals c squared. So 10 squared is 100, and 13 squared is 169, equals c squared. 100 plus 169 is 269. Now, the opposite operation to squared is square root. So to get rid of this squared over here on our C, I have to square root both sides. So if I square root 269, the square root of 269 on your calculator is 16.4. So therefore, our missing side is 16.4 meters. Now let's do another example where we don't have one of the legs. I'm going to change my color here and we'll do this over to the side. Keep all of our examples on the same page here. So in the next triangle, we have, let's draw out the triangle. So there's our right angle. And for this one, we will say that we don't have this leg, okay? But we do have this one. We'll say this is 12 centimeters. And we have the hypotenuse. It's 20 centimeters. So remember, this is my hypotenuse. So I'm going to label this one as C, because that's the hypotenuse. This one, on the unknown, we'll say it's A, and we'll say that this one over here is B. Okay? So we're going to use the same formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, the mistake that some people make is that they say, well, I know this side and I know this side, so those must be my A and my B. But that's wrong, right? We know that the C has to be the longest one, the one that's across from the right angle. So when we plug this in here, we don't know the A. we can't use C as our unknown because we know what C is. So I'm going to leave my A as my unknown. So my B was 12 centimeters, so 12 squared equals my C, which is 20 squared. So right now we're just going to solve for A, because A is our unknown. So leave my A squared here. 12 squared is 144. And 20 squared is 400. So in order to solve for A, I need to isolate A. So this positive 144, I will move to the other side. So I will have A squared equals 400 minus 144. So 400 minus 144 is 256. It's 256. So again, in order to figure out what A is, I have to take the square root of 256. So A equals the square root of 256, and the square root of 256 is 16. So A equals 16. So therefore, the missing side is 16 centimeters.